Oh man, so I went to this event last weekend, Ignite Your Life. It was awesome. It was all about health, wealth, and building relationships and making all of those things good and strong, and with your spouse or your partner. And unfortunately, Jen wasn't able to make it.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
I was
I
gonna
brought.
say, how'd that go?
Yeah, no, her mother fell and broke her cheekbone, and so she was like,
Uh,
"Okay, I'm going to hang with her and have the kids and all that stuff." And
yeah.
so, unfortunately, she
Well,
wasn't
help
able to
her.
make it. But I met some awesome people. One of them we have here today. His name is Parker Kane. And he's an accomplished American beatboxer, musician, speaker, radio personality, a podcast producer. He's the founder of Canecast, a podcast production company known for creating engaging social media videos. I've looked through some of his stuff. It's awesome. With one of his videos, which was called McDubstep, it got over 1 billion views online and became a viral sensation. Parker's talent and creativity caught the attention of many major brands, and he was featured in his very own McDonald's commercial, which I think we'll play because it's very good. It's about 20 seconds. His talents have earned him invitations to prominent TV shows such as Outrageous Acts of Science, America's Got Talent, Ridiculousness, and The Steve Harvey Show. He's also wowed audience nationwide with captivating speeches and mesmerizing beatbox performances at TEDx, at corporate McDonald's events, and creator conferences like where, well, I guess that wasn't a creator conference where I met him, but it was something like that, alongside stars like Shark Tank's Damon John. As an influential figure in the industry, Parker continues to inspire audiences through his engaging performances and appearances on various stages and podcasts nationwide, including ours. And here he is. Welcome, Parker Kane. How you doing, my man?
I'm good. Hey, thanks for having me on, man. And that
Uh,
event with Ignite Your Life, that was
uh,
awesome.
Incredible. It was incredible. So many incredible speakers and talents, yourself included. Absolutely. We're going to put your logo up here real quick. Boom. Look at this.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, it's right on
Yeah,
top of
man.
it.
That's right on time. Sorry, Sean.
It's okay.
So, Parker, it's been a pleasure knowing you. The week that I've known you, we had a pretty good conversation at the event. And man, I just when I was thinking like, all right, who's next? Who are we going to bring on? You had reached out to me right at the same time and said, "Hey, let's do something together." And I was ecstatic. Yes, this guy's big time. You know, we're us. We're trying to put it together, but we certainly appreciate you coming on and spending your time because I know right at 10 you've got a radio show that you do. Tell us a little bit about your radio show. What is it that you do? Is it just you bring on music? You're a DJ, or how does it work?
Yeah, I guess it's less of a show and more of just a radio personality because it's music all day. But I'm the guy in between songs, giving you the
Okay.
news on country artists and stuff like that.
So it's country music.
Yes, I'm on a country radio station here in the Treasure Valley.
Is it like, I don't want to say the wrong one. There's a couple I know. I don't listen to the radio much, but I don't want to say the wrong one. So why don't you tell us
Yeah,
which one it
so
is?
right now I'm on 104.3 Wow Country.
Okay.
And on the weekends too, and then also on the weekends 107.9 Light FM.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Mhm.
I went to real estate school with Kevin. What's his name? Kevin. He's a local radio
Kevin
guy.
Miller.
That's him, Kevin Miller. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I
Um,
think I listened to a few of your episodes, and you had a guest on that was recently on Kevin Miller's show too, I think.
Mayor Pierce.
Here's
Yeah,
Yeah, Mayor Pierce. All right. Hey, well, thanks for going out and watching our stuff. I appreciate
yeah,
that.
of course.
That's,
well,
I did a
I'm
little.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that channel is what I have set on my garage radio.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Well,
So
I
you've probably heard her
appreciate
voice.
Yeah, thank you.
Probably, yeah. A lot of requests for some Jason Aldean of late.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
guys are still playing it, right?
Heck yeah, and I'll be talking about that a little bit today too, just because it's gone a little bit more viral just this last 24
Of
hours or
course.
so.
Can we put out that can be listened to across the country from one of those apps, or where else can they listen to you?
Yeah, so the website is 1043wowcountry.com. And there is an app too, just the 104.3 Wow Country app. Both of those are good. You can listen live online, but also we do contests for pretty much every every concert that comes through, which is fun.
Cool. So as far as country goes, and maybe this is sensitive, I don't know, but old country or new country, poppy country or country? What do you like?
You know, I'm not as big
I already
into
know where Dan stands.
What was that?
I said I already know where Dan stands.
Yeah. I I have kind of an interesting story, but I didn't really grow up listening to country, and I didn't really start liking country till 2017 when I moved to Nashville for a year to do actually some stuff with McDonald's that happened after my viral video and all that. But yeah, 2017 is when I started liking it. So I think I'm just more, you know, in that ocean of newer country. I haven't been experienced with the older country.
Okay.
But I don't like the super poppy stuff. Like if it's country that's on like 4 of our 6 radio stations, I mean it's a little bit too poppy for me. So I like kind of the country rock stuff, like like Jason Aldean, you know, also Hardy. Hardy is another one that does kind of that heavier rock. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I'm not familiar with the second one. For me, it's like the twangier the better, the countryer the better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, losing the dog, losing the wife, lost the house.
One of my current faves is Jamie Johnson, and I guess he kind of got, like Jason Aldean is happening right now. He kind of got kicked out of the mainstream, or so I understand, and so I think that makes me like him a little bit more. What you said growing up? Where'd you grow up? You're an Idahoan, aren't you? You're a native.
Yeah, I wasn't born here, but I moved here when I was really, really young and grew up in Pocatello, and then spent a lot of time in, 2 years in Twin Falls, and then a lot of time in Idaho Falls and Rexburg. And then over 2019, I moved out here to the Treasure Valley, and I'll probably never leave. So
I went back through your journey in Instagram, and it was interesting to go back and see, like, when you moved here. I saw your picture in front of the temple, which of course we drive by every day, and it was I was like, oh, that's here. Like, he's one of us. He's right here. He's right here in our area, and it was just kind of neat because I knew that your history sort of started on the other side of the state, and so you came and joined us. When you were growing up, you know what? Would you mind me asking how old you are to get sort of a musical frame of reference?
Yeah, so I'm 30.
Okay. Well, when you were a kid, I have no idea what they were playing. So, what was
Britney Spears?
Okay. What were you listening to?
All that.
Mandy Moore. Just kidding.
Yeah. I liked listening to NSYNC. My family listened to NSYNC a lot, you know, the boy bands, the pop, 98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys, all that. But NSYNC, particularly Justin Timberlake, as a little kid, I was just really, really drawn to them. And Justin Timberlake was a beatboxer, and just, I don't know what it is, but I think 9 years old is kind of that age where a lot of people first discover like their first big passion. And for me, that was beatboxing. And
that was through Justin Timberlake?
Yep.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's an incredible musician. Everything he touches turns to gold. And because he was in a boy band and I was a little older, we always thought, oh, that's silly and blah, blah, blah. But look at what he's done. You know,
Dan was all in. New Kids.
I'm in now. Yeah, I like it. No, that's great. I watched a video that you did where you talked about how that piqued your interest in beatboxing because you thought he was going to sing, but then he didn't sing. He beatboxed, and you were like, oh, "This is it. This is it." And then your mom bought you a VHS tape, which of course I know all about, that concert on it, and you maybe practiced some of those things or honed your craft or started your craft at that point.
Yeah, it's kind of like, and I did this too. I don't usually talk about the dancing part of it, but as a little kid, you know, I was trying to learn their dances too. But it's kind of the same thing where kids, you know, they watch their favorite YouTube star or something and try to mimic or copy almost exactly what they do. So I, as a little kid, learned Justin Timberlake's routine that he would do, pretty much to a T. And then it wasn't until, you know, I was probably 13 or 14 years old that I started really trying to come up with my own style. You know, there's a lot of beatboxers out there now, and, you know, God makes our bodies different, I guess, because we're using our same instruments, but they sound completely different beatboxers to what I do.
Sure. Well, I guess that's a perfect segue for would you mind sharing something with us? Would you mind showing us kind of what you do?
Yeah. Do you want me to put like your guys' names in it?
Sure. Yeah, whatever you want. We just want to hear it. Yeah, it doesn't
Cool.
matter.
And hopefully it doesn't cut out. Sometimes the
So
streaming, it
let
might
me
just dip out.
pronounce my last name for you. It's Kling and
Kling.
Shamboli. Yeah.
Okay.
Kling.
Sounds good.
All right.
I like the bowling.
That is so great, man. That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you. Now I need you to give me the
Yeah,
rights
that
to
actually
be able to use that.
Yeah, that'd be fun to do like
That's
an official intro outro thing.
totally. That's cool, man. Thank you. So would you say that the Justin Timberlake thing was kind of the moment? Was that the moment when you're like, okay, this is it. I'm doing this. I'm going to try this. And you were beatboxing around the house, and your mom was probably going, Parker, what are you doing? You're like, no, I love this. This is great. Was that kind of the time?
Yeah, that was the time. And it was hard for my mom at first because, you know, nobody starting beatboxing sounds good. And it's just really annoying, right?
Right.
So I was driving my mom nuts, but she was supportive. And also my family, you know, they were all very musically talented. And I can sing now. Like over time, I taught myself some instruments like guitar and saxophone and singing and doing stuff like that through high school. But at that time, I was not able to really fit in with them musically because I couldn't sing like them. And beatboxing was my superpower. Beatboxing was my way of fitting in. And also at that time, not to get too into the fluff with like, you know, our brain and hearts and stuff like that, but also at the time I was going through a lot with my parents' divorce and just my family kind of splitting up. And as a kid, I didn't know it was happening, but now looking back, I feel like this is what was happening. I was grasping onto something that I had control over, and I was grasping onto something that was mine, that I could blow up into whatever I wanted it to be. And that was like my, you know, beatboxing was like my comfort zone. So
Totally. No, heart and fluff is all good, man. We've all got a mental health tale to tell, and it's usually pretty difficult to do. So, no, you can share that with us all you want. That's great. It's good to know that something like that was able to carry you over the bridge from, you know, one family to something different. And I think you're right. I think people do latch on to certain things, and some people it's bad things, and some people it's good things. And so for you, it ended up being your thing, and you know you've turned it into your livelihood and all that. But you also produce podcasts, which I think ultimately is what the discussion that we were starting was going to be about. But I was more interested in you. But I am interested in that. Can you tell us, like, how'd you get started in that, and what is it exactly that you do?
yeah, so it's just, I'll start with this. I'm a firm believer that if you follow what you're passionate about, you uncover things you're passionate about that you wouldn't have found. So for me, that's like how beatboxing linked to podcasting one day. You know, like when I had that video go viral, I thought that I'd be just like this famous beatboxer on YouTube, but instead of blowing up in that way, I started getting booked as a speaker and as an entertainer at events. And then I started networking like crazy, and I started seeing that all these people I run into, they have their things that they're passionate about. Some of them are killing it. Some of them are too afraid to dive into it. They're all at different stages. And I started becoming passionate about talking to people about their passions. And I created my own podcast to tell their stories. It was called Upbeat. Since getting into this radio gig, I've had a lot less time, and that podcast has kind of dipped a little bit, but I need to kickstart it again. It was a good 4-year run of posting every single week interviews with the people that I was meeting. And I just grew a lot from my own podcast for 4 years and was like, I have the skills to help people have their own podcasts. I did it for myself for 4 years, and it's just been a following the breadcrumbs. Just every new one I pick up, there's always something ahead. And podcasting for me now, I can help people share their messages with more of a human to human way of making content.
Sure. Yeah, that's kind of what Sean and I, we started this because we wanted to talk about business, but really you can only talk about mortgages and real estate so much. Most people aren't going to want to listen. Right. Most people aren't going to want to listen to our, yammering on day in or week in and week out about the same old thing. And so we thought, let's bring someone on. And man, I love this. Like, to be able to hear your story and then spread that with the people that we've got listening is awesome. You talk about having a message. So obviously when you speak, they say, hey, or they call the booking agent and say, hey, we want to book Parker. We're doing a show or an event or TEDx about X, Y, and Z. We'd like him to speak about. Do you choose what you speak about? Or they say, hey, we really like his message, but we want to tailor it to this? Or how does that work?
Yeah. So most of the time it's centered kind of around sharing my story of what happened to me and linking it to pursuing your passions, even if it's weird to other people. Like beatboxing is kind of a weird thing overall, but it's something that I've been able to make serious and make something that I do. And so it's kind of to inspire people, whatever their passions are, whatever their thing is, that even if it's kind of weird, they can pursue that. We're living in a time where you can make money doing anything and doing the things that you love. And so that's kind of where it started, but it evolves a little bit, kind of what you experienced at the Ignite Your Life event. I like to engage with the crowd and use it as a way to kind of teach collaboration and making each other look good and supporting each other and teaching different people how to beatbox together in like a fun, simple way that doesn't make them look bad, but builds everybody up.
Sure.
And then it's kind of changing right now. I'm fine tuning it and I'm kind of rebuilding after COVID. When COVID happened, all of my events stopped and things, and I got really out of the hang of it. So I'm trying to rebuild and fine tune things. But right now I'm kind of more focused on leadership and being a positive impact on others and understanding your strengths and your team's strengths, that kind of stuff.
Sure. So you said a minute ago, you said what happened to you, and what you're talking about is the McDonald's commercial, right? That was that was a huge springboard into sort of the public eye and things like that. Is that true?
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much what usually they want me to at least touch on, is the fact that I went kind of from zero to hero real fast with a viral video in 2015.
It happens. Do you mind if I play it?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, let's see here. Let's put this on.
Now you're going to make me hungry for French fries. Great. It's moving slow.
And then this is you doing it just in lot on.
I can't hear. Is that just me?
That is great. That is great. You guys could hear that and everything, right?
No, I couldn't hear that.
Oh no! I played the whole thing and we couldn't hear it. I will put the I will put the link in the description so everybody can watch that.
Yeah,
It's
you have to
awesome.
hear
I
it.
highly recommend it. What's that?
I said you definitely have to hear it, right?
Yeah. I don't know why that doesn't carry over. I guess maybe I need a podcast producer like Jamie
Yeah.
from Joe Rogan to bring that up.
We
Jamie,
need
bring
all
that
the
up.
help we can get.
Bring up the
Yeah.
McDubstep video for me.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Do you have are there any? I know it's a small world, the beatboxing community, but do you have any beatbox heroes? Do you have anybody that inspire you to change your sound or add things or whatever, and to inspire you at all?
Yeah, first and foremost was Justin Timberlake, and I hope one day that I can circle around and have that be full circle where I get a beatbox with him or for him and somehow.
Sure.
I've always had this dream of beatbox battling him on like the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon or something.
Yeah.
So I think I could beat him now. Just kidding. But so
Well, he might have fallen off. You know,
what was that?
I said he might have fallen off. Like he made him. I'm assuming it's probably a skill that you have to practice to kind of. It's not like maybe necessarily like riding a bike.
Yeah, and So I don't know if he's
perishable skill.
Yep.
Yeah. So if you're not practicing, who knows though? He might do that every day, Sean. He might. His showers might be beatbox time. You never know. So
that's true.
All right. So I'm gonna put myself way out of my comfort zone here.
What
Sean
about
might
LeVar Jones? LeVar Jones. That's who when I think of beatboxing, it's weird, but I think of the guy from Police Academy.
Oh,
the guy from
Michael Winslow.
I know we're older.
It's you said it's LeVar. Yeah, dude, that guy. He still does stand up and does his sounds, and I don't know if it's considered beatbox, but whatever.
Yeah,
it
it's
is
not like I don't think he does music necessarily, but he does like.
Is it the Michael Winslow?
Michael Winslow.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
He does like
what's it?
Sound effects, like making it sound like a helicopter and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Technically, he's probably not a beatboxer, but I don't know if there's a different category for that. But that's what I think of too.
Yeah, I think he could do it. And then another big influence for me, maybe you've heard of him, maybe not. His name's Tom Thumb. Tom Thumb. He's from Australia, and he has like a really cool TED performance that I highly recommend anyone look up, where he just makes a different twist to beatboxing and makes it more of a universal thing and does different beats from different countries and stuff like that. And
THUM.
Yep, that's the video right there. He does such a good job. So
okay, well we'll put that in the description too, and I'll definitely go watch it. Okay, I was kind of happy that you guys kept talking on to something else because I didn't want to do this, but I have to put myself out there. I don't know if Sean wants to do it or not, but I'm wondering if maybe, because we've all tried the beatbox. My kids do it, and we have a good time laughing about it. Oh man, now I got really nervous thinking that I'm asking you to teach to beatbox in front of people. So
I heard people that have mustaches have an advantage when it comes to beatboxing. So
well, this is true. We have a lot of advantages with these mustaches. One is that people mistake us for Tom Selleck once in a while. So
you're missing a Ferrari though. That's the only problem.
So, yeah. And that's the one that he drove then is probably one I might be able to afford since they're probably in junkyards and stuff at this point. No? Okay. Yeah, well, I tried.
It probably sold for like $2.5 million on Barrett Jackson. But yeah.
I don't know. So I've been walking around my house since I knew you were coming on. And I know that you had done the boots and cats. And my kids had done that too. And so we always messed around with that. And so I was like, okay, but what does boots and cats turn into? So I was like, boots and cats. Is that kind of just, that's like the very basic, and then you build on top of that, or how does it go? Make me look good.
Yeah, so that's kind of the start of it. And I talked about this too at that Ignite Your Life event, but the kind of the OG boots and cats, in my opinion, as someone who, I started doing that before the boots and cats thing went big, was actually letters. And growing up, I was the kid in high school that was not focused at all, and I hated school. And so I would just write different patterns in my notebook of letters. So boots and cats, really, they're using a B, but I always thought of it as P for the bass. So PTKT. So the letter P would be the bass. The letter T would be the hi-hat. And the letter K would be the snare.
And then you added, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then to scratch, and this is actually so Tom Thumb, he is a big influence for me for scratching, like that kind of stuff. But the basics of the scratching. So if you whisper the word or the name Chewie, like Chewbacca from Star Wars, it's so PTKT and Chewie. That was how I started, and I would just write it out a bunch of different ways. And the thing I like about that, instead of boots and cats, is you can customize it. So like it might be harder to say boots and cats in different variations, but with letters you can change it. So the boots and cats version of PTKT is, but you could change it to maybe PTTKT, and then it's or you could add more K's, like PTKKT. Be so there's just ways to change it around.
Okay, so you go from quarter notes to eighth notes on the 2 Ks.
Yep.
Can
awesome,
you?
Man.
So thanks. One thing that I wonder is, can you beatbox now as poorly as you did when you first started? Could you even emulate you 15 years ago?
I probably couldn't. No, it's so hard. I'd imagine it's like just really. Because I was trying. Yeah. Well, I was just trying to experiment too. So like, for example, and I hope this doesn't cut out, but like a snare drum that I really like, which is much more advanced to teach, but it's just but I learned that you could have different levels of that at different pitches. So like, all of that is just like the same thing, just adjusting how tight my lips are. So
sure. Kind of like playing a trumpet. I was going to say sax, but sax is a woodwind, so you don't do that. But
yeah,
well, maybe there is a little bit of tightness on the reed, right? But anyway, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, wow.
We have to play flute. So
let's play flute. I've seen a beatboxer. There's a beatboxer that plays the flute at the same time. It's a woman. Is this right? Parker, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen beatboxers play with a flute for sure. And I never beatboxed with a French horn, but in high school I played French horn, and that's actually how I learned some of my sounds, like the all of that is lip buzzing that I learned when I played French horn.
Oh wow! So how am I doing? Am I doing all right? Sean, let's hear you. You do it. Come on, Sean.
I really.
You should. You should. We're pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone here. That's what this is all about.
I pushed myself out of the comfort zone at the gym this morning.
Okay. I did too. At the jiu-jitsu gym, not the regular gym. I'm way too weak.
Not the lifting in objects gym.
No, I should do that though. So let's see. We played the commercials. Yeah. Let's see. Man, there's so many things.
But with the podcast, like you produce them, but do you have like a tutorial on how to like get started on one, or is it how does that kind of work?
Could you do a consult? So like, could you, if somebody like us,
the people are out there, yeah,
right. Could you go after this and go, hey, these are the things that I would change. These are the things that I would do better, or add this or change your camera or whatever. Could you do a consult like that with somebody?
Yeah, so I don't have any posted tutorials, but I do consulting and help with recommendations, of equipment and strategies and the best ways to kind of get started fast. Like one rule of thumb that I have is for people who are just starting, which you have more than 7 episodes, but people who are just starting, I try to encourage them to just get past 7 episodes, because one kind of crazy statistic is that there are far less podcasts than blogs and YouTube channels and whatever else is out there. And the stats are that if you cross 7 episodes, you're in the top 10% of podcasts. So I usually help create a plan or a strategy to help them get past that, pretty much 2 month mark of posting weekly.
Well, what do you think's the reason that people stop? Why do they hit 5 and go, forget it? Like, because you don't have 1 million views yet? I mean, is that what it is, or what do you think?
I think so. I think people they have a lack of the understanding, so that it's kind of entering a new space where they're not geniuses, and I think they have a hard time. People have a hard time jumping into something where they don't know anything about the thing, and then second to that, the amount of work it is more than what people think, especially when a lot of podcasters out there who do the same kinds of things as me, they push out this message that it's the easiest way to have all your content, and then they think it's easy and it's not. And then the viewership, they don't see it monetizing as fast as they'd like.
Yeah, but that's the same as any long play. It's the same as the stock market. I mean, usually, obviously, sometimes you lose, sometimes you win right away, but usually it's a long play.
It's like real estate.
Same with real estate. I mean, you buy some stuff and you buy a couple of properties, you're not going to make a ton of money overnight. You're looking at the 7 to 15 year game or whatever your strategy is, but it's almost never, save for the last 4 years, it's never going to hit quick. So we realize that. We also realize that our views come in different amounts in different places. So we push to a few different platforms, but Facebook is the one that garners the most views. So when people go, if I go, hey, Parker, do you want to come on? And you go, yeah, let me go look at your channel and see if you're, any good. And you look and see that there's 35 views or whatever. That's not necessarily our views. We'll get thousands of views on Facebook, but almost none on YouTube. And I don't know why. That's a question for you, but I could see how that would get somebody down. Oh, I do great here, but that's because it's my friends and family. And over here, where we don't know anybody, YouTube, we don't have a ton of views. Oh, never mind. We're not going to do this anymore. I can see people getting
likes and hearts and all that other nonsense that comes along with it, right? They want that, like, I don't know.
I want to be an influencer. I want it to happen right now.
Yeah, I think it was like, I put a picture. I put a selfie of I put a real sexy picture of me. I'm shirtless, and only 3 people hearted it.
You're speaking from experience, Sean.
I barely respond to comments, unfortunately. So I just don't go back and look. Sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's like we live in a time where people see the best all the time, and they want that with very little spend or very little effort. So they see Joe Rogan come on their TikTok feed 10 times a day, and they think, I want this Joe Rogan style podcast, but then they don't even just start.
Right. I want to be Grant Cardone, but I don't want to take the risk of buying my first property. Right. I want to be huge and have a jet. And that's kind of the world we live in, where so many people, especially young people, are on the socials, and that's what they see. So they think that it's 100% attainable. And I just don't think that that's necessarily true unless you're willing to slog through that long game of dejection and rejection and things not working, and then tweaking things, and then, oh, this works. Or, oh, I've done enough podcasts now. People who that other people want to hear from are coming on, and like, oh, okay, baby steps, right? It's not just, oh, you put yourself out there and then boom, you're famous and rich. It just doesn't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree.
You can buy a lottery ticket and win billions, but
I lost $5 on this one. So and then I lost $5 on this one too. So
oh man.
Yeah, I try not to do that very often.
You should have really nice bookmarks. So
yeah, those go right into my books that I listen to on Audible. Can you share with us like a particularly memorable or heartwarming experience that you shared with a fan or somebody at a show or TEDx or something like that? Is there any time that you just connected with someone?
Yeah, there's been a few times. I'll tell you one is, and she actually just texted me. It was Holly, Holly Fleming she was at that event too.
Very sweet lady.
Yeah, she just texted me and said she's watching this and enjoying it. So that's awesome. But
good.
So there's been a few people, but there's one particular story that I'll never forget, and it actually was in Rexburg, Idaho, and it was before really I had anything big take off. It was before the viral video and before the McDonald's commercial. But at the time I was doing YouTube cover videos with my sister, and they were getting like 0 to 35 views. And it felt discouraging to like, why do I do this if it doesn't reach anyone? That was my mindset.
Right.
And I was out to eat at my favorite Chinese food restaurant in Rexburg, and this mom and her daughter walked up to me while we were at our table eating, my sister and my friends and I. And she said, "Hey, I don't want to interrupt your meal, but we're sitting over there. And before you leave, like, please come talk to my daughter and I." And I forgot, I thought that was kind of weird. And we were there eating for like an hour, and then I forgot. And I went to walk out of the restaurant without even going back to her, which was really wrong of me. Like, I think today I would have been like, "No, let's talk now, pull up a chair." Like I'd be much more accepting. But at that time it was just, I don't know, and it felt weird. But she ran up to me when I was leaving, and she's like, "Oh, wait, like, please talk to my daughter and I." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And her daughter was like a 9-year-old who was discovering her passions, right? And her daughter, I still remember her name, it's Kiana. She was back and forth trips to Primary Children's Hospital and had like this bone marrow cancer. And her, I think this was a gift from God that like this interaction even happened, because it encouraged me to keep going, and it helped her a lot too. But she told me that her daughter, as she was in tears, her daughter watches my YouTube covers with my sister at night when she goes to bed at the hospital. And it just hit home, because I'm like, man, I might have one view, but it's Kiana, and it's her world,
Right.
And so it opened my eyes to this thing that you don't know the other side of it. We see what's on our screen, we see the analytics, we see the reports, and very rarely do we get that full circle moment where you can see how it impacted somebody else.
Which in the end is really more important than the analytics. And because if you're really touching someone, even if it's just someone, that's what matters, right? I mean, yeah, if you can make money and all that, that's awesome. But if you're changing someone's life, man, that's a legacy.
Yep. And the thing is more people have changed lives than they know, and they just didn't have that full circle moment like I got to have with Kiana. So I try to keep that mindset with everything. My podcast, I did it for 4 years. I'm going to jump back into it. And I never really cared about views after that interaction with her. So that was probably one of the most standout things. And it was even before, probably a couple months before my video went viral, and it could have been preparing me for that.
Sure. Yeah. That's a great story. Has beatboxing influenced your life, personal growth, etc., in any other ways that you think?
Yeah, I think it's just taught me that, if you like something enough and you put enough time into it, it's possible. And it's taught me that you have to work for it too. Like I remember 14 years old, I was in high school living in Pocatello, and I was out there just knocking doors, getting my own gigs, and I was performing at the county fairs and the state fairs and doing everything I could. And then of course, when the video goes viral, people are like, "Oh my gosh, like, always knew you had it in you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're always the best.
Yeah. So
I've loved you since day one. Like, why didn't you say anything?
I've been your biggest fan since day one.
Yep. Yeah. A bunch of people from high school popped up out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. It's like when you win the lottery, right? They come out of the woodworks.
Yep.
All of a sudden, you got aunts and uncles you never knew about, you know?
Yeah.
Right. Well, listen, I know that you're just about ready to start your show, and I don't want you to get pushed over and be late for your real job. So I just want to say thank you very much for coming on here. You're welcome anytime. We'd always love to talk to you. Maybe next time I'll really try to beatbox a little bit better. And
I think that was pretty good, man.
Oh, well, thank you.
Man, you might be on track. We might get a couple private lessons, and
maybe I'll change. You know, some realtors have their shtick, right? There's a guy that wears a velvet suit. The velvet suit, the beatboxing realtor. You know, I can send over my offers via Beatbox.
Yeah, you know, I'm trying to kind of do that too in a way. Like, what I'm looking for right now is just events. Like, I want to be. I mean, when have you ever heard of a corporate event beatboxer? You know, or a beatboxer for corporate events? Like, so I'm trying to get that little niche going, and then just the podcast production stuff, helping people have their social media videos with the podcasting machine that podcasts are.
Totally. Well, let's put that out there. Do you have a booking agent?
I don't have an agent, but anyone can reach out to me on Instagram or my website or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. So we, as I said in the very beginning, I met Parker at a corporate event, sort of thing. And he worked with the MC, who's a female comedian, improv artist, and they worked so well together. She ran the show, but the way that you backed her up and brought people up by doing their names and all that stuff was awesome. So if you've got something coming up, and you can't get Joe Rogan to MC the thing or to put some color into it, man, Parker's the man. Reach out to him. He's on all the socials. parkerkane.co. You've got your YouTube channel and all these things. I'm pretty sure if you just put in his name, and there it is on screen, you can type that in and get access to him and hire him, which I think you should do. The other thing is that he's also got his. Go ahead, Sean.
I was going to say we should have him at the Legacy Pool.
Yes, right before, this is way beneath him, but way before we do the cannonball contest or whatever it is, dude, we could really jazz that up a little bit with some beatbox for sure.
Yeah, sure.
So the other thing, say that one more time?
We definitely need some talent.
Yes, yeah, because we're hardly talent doing running around in our Speedos and doing cannonball.
As long as I don't have to do that part.
And then he's got his podcast production company, Kanecast, which you can get to at Kanecast with a K, Kanecast.com. Oh, there it is. But cast is with a C, KANECAST.com. We'll put that all in the description so people can get to you. Thanks so much for coming on and hanging out with us this morning. Good luck to you in your show today. I'm sure you're going to do great.
Yep.
And we'll see you around town.
Yeah, thanks for having me on and for giving me a little push, a little nudge on the way. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Helping each other out. That's what it's all about. Building health, wealth, and relationships, right?
Right.
Shout out to Matt and Kristen Schneider from Ignite Your Life. You should also look them up. They've got a great program going on where you want to get inspired and do some incredible networking and meet some people that can help you in your life, grow your business or tweak your business. Or we've got a guy coming on next week, Rondi Lambeth. He is a genius with tax law. And he literally held court. Kristen said it on stage, or maybe it was the MC, Megan. Right, Megan. She said that's who it was. That he was holding court. Man, I walked to go get a water or something, and he probably had 20 people around him because the stuff that he has to say is fascinating, and it's stuff that us lay people don't think about tax law, ways to lower your tax basis. Anyway, he'll be on next week at 9:30 on Friday. and we'll see you then. Thanks again, Parker. I appreciate you, man.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Take care.